Calling to order the Monday, July 15th, 2013 meeting of the 34th Council of the City of Berkeley. Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Baker. Councilmember Blanchard.
Here.
Councilmember Kadekel. Councilmember Platt-Onson.
Here.
Councilmember Stedman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack.
Here.
Mayor O'Dwyer.
Here. First order of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Stedman with support from Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack. Any changes or additions? Hearing none. Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll?
Kadekel. I'm sorry. Blanchard.
Yes.
Platt-Onson.
Yes.
Stedman.
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes.
And O'Dwyer.
Yes. The agenda has been approved. And now we come to the invocation. Is Reverend Adam Grow here? Please stand.
Would you join me in prayer? Father God, we thank you for this city. We thank you for the blessing that it is to us. And as the meeting proceeds and conversation is had and decisions are made, we pray that the city would continue to be a blessing to its citizens. Lord, we pray as we come to a very hot week, we pray for our seniors and we pray for those who are young, that the heat would be tolerable for them. We pray for all of our city officials. We pray for our police this week, hearing of the incident in Clawson over the weekend. We pray every day that for protection for our officers. Give wisdom now to this group of people here. Give them a great will, desire to serve this community. And we thank you for how you've blessed all of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we come to the citizens' comments portion of tonight's meeting, when you may present your thoughts on issues that are not included on tonight's agenda. Council members will not engage you in discussion. If your concern needs to be addressed by a member of city staff or a department of the city, please sign your name on the sheet provided at the clerk's desk. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence.
Good evening. My name is Dan Mihaescu. I'm a resident of the City of Berkeley here, and I'm the chairperson of the Berkeley Beautification Advisory Committee. We wanted to inform the council of a few of the events and that are coming up, as well as some of the progress we've made as a committee. We have planted some perennials in front of the Welcome to Berkeley sign on Coolidge as you approach from the north heading south. There's also been some shrubs that have been planted in front of the ice arena, which is great. And so next week on Monday, between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. at 21st Seconds, they've graciously offered to provide a percentage of the revenue that's generated that evening to the Berkeley Beautification Advisory Committee. Some of the projects that are upcoming would be, we're planning on painting some of the fire hydrants, nothing fancy, just yellow so they look a little nicer, not rusty, as well as planting some additional perennials throughout the city in various areas. So we'd welcome everyone to participate and arrive, again, 21st Seconds between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. on the 22nd, and just enjoy some food or beverage. And also, if anyone wants more information on some of the projects and photos, they can visit us at Facebook at Berkeley Beautification Advisory Committee for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Seeing no one else coming to the microphone, then we move on to the consent agenda. Ms. Prince, would you please read the items on tonight's consent agenda?
Yes. Item number 1, approval of the minutes. Matter of approving the minutes of the regular City Council meeting on June 17, 2013, and the special City Council meeting on June 23, 2013. Item number 2, approval of the warrant. Matter of approving warrant number 1268. Item number 3, resolution number R2513, matter of approving a resolution recognizing the Modern Woodmen for their donation and volunteer work for improvements at the Berkeley Ice Arena.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Blanchard.
Support.
Support by Mayor Pro Tem Terbrack. Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll on the consent agenda?
Claire
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Turbrack,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now we come to the regular agenda for tonight. Ms. Prince, would you please read item number 1 on the regular agenda?
Recognitions and presentations. Matter of any recognitions or presentations from the consent agenda.
I have asked Mayor Pro Tem to read Resolution 25-13.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A resolution of the Council of the City of Berkley, Michigan, recognizing the Modern Woodmen for their donation and volunteer work for improvements to the Berkley Ice Arena. Whereas the Modern Woodmen were founded in 1883 by Joseph Cullen Root in Lyons, Iowa, for the purpose of forming a fraternal benefit society that would protect families in their financial futures following the death of a breadwinner, offer more stability than other fraternals of that time, and strengthen families, communities, and the nation. And whereas Modern Woodmen have more than 773,000 members, is the nation's third largest fraternal benefit society, and have approximately 2,400 local chapters nationwide that offer fellowship and community service. Whereas Thomas Holmes, a Modern Woodman representative, approached the Berkley Parks and Recreation Department to identify a community service project that they could do that would benefit parks and recreation in the city of Berkley. And whereas Parks and Recreation thought the greatest benefit that the Modern Woodmen could offer would be to volunteer services to improve areas of the Berkley Ice Arena, and this idea fit into the model of community service that the Modern Woodmen looked to perform. And whereas, in addition to the volunteer hours, the Modern Woodmen will perform at the Berkley Ice Arena, they have generously agreed to donate $500 to help fund these improvements. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department is extremely grateful for the generous donation and volunteer service hours the Modern Woodmen plan to perform, and feel that this donation will improve the overall appearance of the ice arena and hopefully spur further civic action in the community. Now therefore, the City of Berkley resolves, Section 1, that the Council of the City of Berkley, on behalf of the residents of Berkley, wishes to acknowledge and extend its thanks and appreciation to the Modern Woodmen for their generous donation of time and money to improve the Berkley Ice Arena. Introduced and passed at a regular City Council meeting on Monday, July 15th, 2013. Phil O'Dwyer, Mayor.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Prince, would you please read item number 2 on tonight's agenda?
Resolution number R 2613, matter of authorizing the execution of a cash management master agreement between the City of Berkley and Flagstar Bank to provide pricing, automated clearinghouse services, cash management, online banking services, and positive pay and account reconciliation services.
Is there a motion to approve R 2613?
Motion to approve R
Motion to
2613.
approve by Councilmember Stedman.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Blanchard. And at this point, we typically turn over to the city manager, Mr. Sessa. She's out of town, and in her stead and heading up the administration, Chief Eshman.
Thank you, Your Honor. This resolution involves the current cash management pricing agreement that we have with Flagstar Bank. That agreement is set to expire the 31st of this month, and they are proposing a new 5-year agreement. We have representatives from Flagstar Bank here with us, and this matter, of course, is being handled by the city's finance director, Mr. Sabuda. So I will turn it over to him. David?
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, Your Honor and council members. It is my pleasure to bring before you tonight a contract renewal with Flagstar Bank. We've been with Flagstar since 2004. We are proposing a 5-year deal, effective 8/1/2013 through 7/31/2018. The contract is estimated to cost approximately $13.5. This is a $300 increase per year on average, or a 2.5% increase on average. Please note that the first 2 years are a freeze, and then the contract will then bump up by $25 in year 3, and then in year 4, and then there will be no bump in year 5. There were issues back in 07, 08, 09 about going concern, whether Flagstar was going to be here or not. We utilize Bauer Financial Rating Services, which is a industry leader in bank ratings. Bauer has given the Flagstar Bank they've got an improvement. They have how do I want to say this? They are rock solid in the middle of the pack in their range, with 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. They are rated a 3-star. And then the intangibles, which I think are huge here. Number one and foremost, Flagstar has a branch in town. They're over on Woodward Avenue. Number 2, they're headquartered in the state of Michigan in Oakland County, which is the only bank that is in town that has a headquarters here in Michigan. Number 3, interest rates. I shop interest rates every day. Flagstar by far has the best and most competitive interest rates in the southeastern Michigan area, and nobody can touch Flagstar with interest. So when you look at the fees and you look at the interest earnings that we have, we're going to net out about $55,000 to $60,000 ahead over the 5-year period, due to the fact that the interest rates are there, the service is there, and I can't say enough about Flagstar service. They're on when I pick up the phone. They're there when I have a question. They're there when I'm on the road and I need help. They're there. The service is absolutely phenomenal. Tonight, before you, what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce the Flagstar team. They're here, guys. Why don't you come on up to the podium here? The first gentleman walking up is Mr. Robert Lilicki. He's the branch manager here in Berkley. Ruth Condrat. She is, when I have a problem and I have to call headquarters, I call Ruth. Mr. Mike Tierney, he has replaced Mr. Sandro Danello. You may have remembered Sandro. Mr. Danello in the past would be here. Mr. Tierney is now the Executive VP of Personal Services at Flagstar, the top guy, basically, here in the region. And of course, you have Kim Goethe. You remember Kim? She is the steady, constant of the group. And without Kim, let me tell you, services wouldn't be as good without Ms. Goethe. So with that, I would like to turn over. If the council has any questions, or Mr. Tierney, if you would like to say a few words.
Well, real briefly, first of all, thank you for inviting us tonight. And we're delighted to have served the city of Berkeley for almost a decade as your bank, and we look forward to serving you in the future. Robert is our branch manager here. He does a great job. He'll take care of anything for the city and anything for your residents. We got to put in a little plug for Flagstar here. We are the 7th largest mortgage lender in the country, so if anybody needs a mortgage, we can definitely help you with that. And we are Michigan's largest bank. We have 111 offices across the state, but we're local. We all live here. I lived in Berkeley for a little while. I got fond memories of the Berkeley Theater. Some not so fond of being in the crime room with my son, but it was nice to have a crime room in a theater in those days. And many of my friends actually live in Berkeley, so we love coming to Berkeley. Anyway, we really appreciate your loyalty and support with us. And then Kim and Ruth do a fantastic job in our government banking area. We do handle almost a little over 400 municipalities and government units across the state of Michigan. So it's something that we're very good at and we give very good service at. And then one other thing I want to just follow up on that David mentioned. Being from Michigan and having most of our offices here in Southeast Michigan, we went through a tough time, just like the state did in 2008 and 2009. But we've been profitable for the last few years. We're doing fine, just like the state is, and we'll be around a long time to help your residents and the city. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I also may add.
Yes.
Part of the resolution that's before you this evening, sections 3 and 4. Section 3 deals with the signatories, the signatory card. We wanted to memorialize that again and bring that up to date, make sure that people could work with the account and update that paperwork. So myself, the treasurer, or excuse me, the clerk and the manager are the signatories on the account. And then when it comes to ACH transactions, Myself, the manager, and the finance staff are the only individuals that are eligible to do an ACH transaction. So you're memorializing that tonight. Also in Section 4, we charge $25 for a returned item. We're asking you to continue that fee. What happens is we get a charge from the bank, and the customer reimburses us for that charge, and it also picks up our time in handling that matter. So that's Sections 3 and 4 of the resolution. So overall, you have the Flagstar agreements, the Flagstar master agreements, and the signatories and the charge. And I'll be happy to answer, with Flagstar's help, any and all questions that you may have.
Any questions? Councilman Blanchard.
Just one, I know that our residents have been asking, and we're trying to improve payment by credit card. Does this have any impact on that, or is that totally separate?
That is totally separate.
Okay.
Now, what happens here is we utilize a firm that is recommended by Flagstar, and you'll know them as First Data, and we use them extensively at the Recreation Department, so we are using that credit card system there. And as we progress through life, and we need to have that type of service, we'll implement, and we'll use First Data, and then they'll deliver the funds to Flagstar.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions, discussion? We're certainly have a history of good relationships with your bank, and things have gone very well for us. And we're glad that your business is also improving,
Thank you.
as is the general trend in the state. Councilman Blanchard.
Thank you, Ron. Another thing I just thought about, I'd like to say that Robert serves on the board of our Chamber of Commerce and does an excellent job. So when he's not at the bank, he's busy out there supporting Berkeley businesses. So I like to congratulate him for doing that. He does a good job on that.
Very good. And thank you for being here this evening. And Mr. Sabuda, thank you for a very careful analysis of this important item for us. If there is no additional discussion, then we will, Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll on R2613?
Stedman?
Yes.
Turbrack?
Yes.
Blanchard?
Yes.
Platt Onson?
Yes.
O'Dwyer?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And now, Ms. Prince, would you please read item number 3 on tonight's agenda?
Motion number M3513, matter of authorizing the city manager to purchase a TriCaster 455, a live production equipment system and protective casing from Advanced Light and Sound, 1026 Maple Lawn Drive, Troy, Michigan, in an amount not to exceed $20,300.
Is there a motion to approve M3513?
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Councilmember Stedman,
Support.
support by Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack. Chief Ishman?
Yes, sir. In order to enhance our Cablevision capabilities, the Communications Department is requesting to purchase the new live production video recording and presentation system. The assistant to the city manager, Ms. Strickland Love, has been involved in this. She is here, and so I would like to turn this over to her.
Very good.
Arshel?
It's got it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a couple months ago, I did speak to you about the TriCaster and virtual production capabilities. Today, WBRK is extremely limited in terms of how versatile it could be in its programming and its production services. The TriCaster will allow us to do some things that we today are absolutely unable to do. It will coordinate the motions the actions of 4 cameras, up to 4 cameras. It will create a virtual set. In other words, with a green screen behind you, you can be in an elaborate newsroom setting or whatever setting that's programmed into this piece. And I think there are several types of layouts. In addition to that, you can put all kinds of informational crawls and different things that will just enhance the city's ability to get a message out. Today, we don't do as much informational production as I would like to see us do. Some of that has to do with staffing because there are limitations there, but the other has to do with the equipment that we have. It is extremely limited. So this TriCaster is going to take what we do today, take it up several notches, and improve the aesthetic look of it, the feel of it, and the crispness of it. I don't know if you have any questions.
Very good. Are there any questions for Darshell? This seems to be a wise investment because it improves our capacity to produce more effective and cleaner video.
That's correct.
So, and we have, Mr. Sabuda, this is in the budget.
Yes, it is.
Very good. Oh, if there are no further questions and no further discussions, Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll on M3513?
Turbrack,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Platt Onson,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Thank you, Darshell.
Thank you.
And now, Ms. Prince, please read item number 4.
Ordinance number 0413, matter of approving an ordinance of the Council of the City of Berkley, Michigan to rezone property described as lots 336 of the Lockmore Boulevard subdivision from single-family residential district R1D to parking district P1. First reading, set date certain, August 19, 2013.
Is there a motion to approve 0413?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Blanchard,
Support.
support by Councilmember Stedman. Chief?
Yes, sir. This matter involves changing the zoning at property at 1036 Eaton. The city planner, Ms. Amy Vanson, is working on this, so I will turn it over to her. Ms. Vanson?
Good evening. The Planning Commission held a public hearing in accordance with local law and state law and is recommending approval of the rezoning from single-family residential to parking district. The Berkeley City Code stipulates a number of issues, findings of fact, and recommendations the Planning Commission is required to consider. The existing uses of the property, not only of the property, but the general area in question, the zoning classification of the property and the general area in question, the suitability of the property to the uses permitted under the existing zoning classification, the trend of development of the area, including any changes that have taken place in zoning classifications, as well as the objectives of the current land use plan for the city of Berkeley. The land use plan for the city of Berkeley, which was adopted in 2007, specifically calls out the Woodward frontage within Berkeley as underperforming compared to its Royal Oak counterpart on the east side of the street. And what the LSL planning that did the master plan indicated that this was due in part by the underperforming by the depth of the lots and the amount and the size of the available developable land. The future land use plan calls for additional land to be devoted to, in this case, they were talking about general commercial and service to better accommodate quality businesses in Berkeley. We've recently had a number of changes within a couple of blocks of this particular property, most notably Vincetta Garage, which came in. They did have a joint parking agreement, which we have in a number of cases throughout the city. However, in this case, it did not operate as well as any of us expected. We have had T-Mobile, which did an enormous renovation on the former Margaritas, and we also have Scratch Golf, which is to the south of Vincetta Garage. So we have had quite a few changes, and more modern development is going to require additional parking. And when and if, and I hope it's when, we do end up with some sort of rapid transit along Woodward, we're going to have to think about, does this parking change to a commercial zoning? Does it stay parking? And do we just have taller buildings? But I think what's most hopeful, or what's most useful, is looking at 20 years from now, what is it that you're going to want to see in this particular area? And I know there's been a lot of discussion of who needs the parking and who doesn't need the parking. But I think in 20 years, there's probably going to be different businesses there. Maybe not. 50 years, probably different businesses there. And so what do you want to see in the future? Do you want to see this stay a single-family home that's 150, 200 feet from Woodward Avenue, or is the future going to involve a more intensive use, a commercial use? And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. The applicant apologized. He had something come up and was not able to attend, but he does know that this is being considered this evening.
Very good. Thank you, Amy. Are there any questions, discussion? Councilmember Blanchard.
Yes. If this is turned into a parking lot, does they have to go back before the planning commission for review of
For
the plan?
site plan approval, yes.
Okay, because I noticed there's a tremendous elevation differential between the T-Mobile parking lot currently and the back of that lot. It's about 2.5 to 3 feet, I think. So we got to be careful that we don't get some drainage concerns in there where we're flooding in the neighborhood. So we need to make sure that is looked
Under
at.
ordinance, they would have to go, it does have to be reviewed by the city's engineer, and so they would need to approve it. Right now, there is what was 1010 Eaton, the vacant lot that's owned by Vincetta Garage. They are in the midst of, they have received site plan approval. They have not received engineering approval.
Okay, as long as somebody's going to look at that, that's important.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Platt Onson.
I've been checking this lot quite a bit. It's not too far from my house, so I've been able to stop by all different days and times just to sort of see what the parking situation is there. And I took a similar approach when we looked at parking rezoning over on Oxford for, let's get the name of the business. fund.
SHW.
Thank you. I'm like, I know it's 3 letters. And I think it came up also in regards to discussion at the Planning Commission meeting. And while I do think we have a parking problem, and while I do believe that long-term we need to look at things like deeper lots, I can say for certain after driving by this business that this business does not have a parking problem. So at this point, there's really no issue with it being a single-family home. The parking isn't needed for this business. And unfortunately, it doesn't really solve our depth problem. So because of the way this lot abuts the other lot, basically we're looking at it now. So in terms of long-term development and in terms of transit-oriented development and a lot of things that we've been looking at, this quite frankly doesn't help us get there. Obviously, if we're going to be looking at, in terms of the transit plan, if we're going to be looking at being competitive and getting a stop for Berkley, this isn't somewhere along Woodward in that stretch. This isn't really going to help us get there. So it seems to me that based under the current zoning and based on need for this business to have this rezoned in order to be successful, we're just really not there. There's just not enough conflict with what's currently existing, and not enough of a case to show me that this is something that needs to happen at this time. And if down the road they end up with a parking problem and we need to revisit that, maybe that's the time. But at this point, it just doesn't seem like this is going to get us any closer to where we needed to be to meet some of those master plan and transit-oriented development portions of the vision. And to me, there's just no case for it at this time. Thanks.
Okay. Councilmember Blanchard.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just another quick question. Is there a timeline if we rezone this before they have to come in with a site plan?
No, you're actually amending the map.
So
It's not a conditional
that could sit
rezoning.
there as a house forever.
They may never come in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Am I understanding this correctly, that the very first lot is owned by Vincetta Garage?
That's correct.
The next one is owned by T-Mobile, the house we're talking about now.
Yes.
And the one next to that, further in, is owned by Vincetta Garage again.
Yes, and they all back to Charter One Bank, and they're across the street from the
Correct.
apartment building.
Well,
Yes.
I understand.
Okay.
Were we not to rezone this, you could conceivably be in a situation where you'd have a parking lot at both sides of this one house. in
If
theory,
the,
if Vincetta Garage asked for rezoning on the third one in.
and that would be a discussion, if they applied, then city
applied,
council
yeah.
would have to have that discussion, yes.
Right. Well, there's clearly problems of parking in that area on the street, and the neighbors in that area, you know, have had enormous difficulty over the period of the last year or so. And anything that improves, if we can, in my view, we need to create a uniform parking situation. And my understanding is that both businesses are amenable to working together to create a uniform, architecturally uniform parking area.
That would certainly benefit the entire area. That
that's-
would be a good thing.
That's
yes.
correct. Any other additional thoughts with regard to this?
Just quick one, Your Honor. Thank you.
Councilman Blanchard.
Has there been any shared agreement or any talk of shared agreement for parking with those two businesses that you know of?
I have not received anything.
Thank you.
But I think there is still some discussion, and I have seen a preliminary site plan. It has not been submitted for review that shows all three parcels being
Correct.
used together.
That's the uniform notion.
Yes, the uniform one, correct.
Okay,
It does not include the bank, but it does
Okay.
include those three parcels.
correct. Councilor Still.
That was my concern, are they going to share it? And what about the businesses that are across that space from T-Mobile, such as the Metro PCS store and so on? I know that they had a difficult time with parking for their businesses there.
Yeah, I think if we don't get into policing parking lots, and I'm sure Public Safety Director Ashman could speak more to this, what we've advised folks is how to sign it, and that if they want to not have folks parking in their parking lot, it is up to them to police it. We believe that it is a benefit for all businesses to work together and share parking, whether it's at this location, whether it's on 12 Mile, whether it's further down on Woodward. If they can work out a deal where they're sharing it's of benefit to have businesses occupied and businesses flourishing, and that means that customers are going to occasionally park maybe in the wrong spot. But that is a potential customer that the other business may have. That is what we've told folks. How T-Mobile and Vincetta Garage are going to work on this remains to be seen. But I think, again, as I said, I think it's looking into the future 20 years, and I think Commissioner Morrell said this at the Planning Commission meeting, Berkeley's still going to be here and will outlast the businesses. So how is it that you want to see this area develop? And there's a couple different approaches you can take. Is the wait and see until there's the parking issue? Or do you have those difficult meetings ahead of time, and the Planning Commission's talked about this? Do you draw the line on where you want that parking to stop, and it can only go this far and no further? Or do you wait and see what developments come along? And that's been a discussion point with the Planning Commission for a few years. And do you draw the line and say no more, or do you wait and see what happens?
Very good. Thank you. Chairman Barnett, do you have any additional comments?
I believe that when they were developing the Woodward Avenue Transit and all of that planning that's going on, there are indications in those plans that we should have more in-depth parking along that whole strip of Woodward Avenue, and I foresee that coming down the road as businesses increase. I had I attended an interesting seminar in March with Robert Gibbs, who is a retail planner, and his offices are in Birmingham, and he's known worldwide. And one of his key points is that businesses
need parking areas, and in order to develop commercial development, we need to be able to provide those areas for them. And I think this is a perfect opportunity where we have that opportunity. It's a little dicey as to how they'll all play together and play nice. We can hope for that, and that would be my intent. I mean, as I sat and listened to all of these arguments, it's been, which way should we go? The master plan indicates we should. The Woodward Avenue action plan indicates we should move in this direction. So at this point, I think we have the opportunity. It's here, and I think we should take advantage of it. That being said, if this does happen, it also offers the opportunity for other businesses who might want to locate in Berkley, and they can see and judge that, hey, the city's working with businesses to provide access for vehicular traffic to park, and that will help us in the future. So I'm strongly in favor of moving ahead. I'm a little antsy, but I think it's the right thing we should do.
Thank you. Eric?
Good evening, Eric Onson, City of Berkeley. I agree with what was said, that there is a parking problem in that area, but without a cohesive parking lot and an agreement between the businesses of all three lots, you have the risk of having three lots separated by barriers, which reduce the number of spots available. And without that shared agreement, we run into issues that we see at Time Travelers, a business that has a ton of parking spaces that can't be used. And there's nothing more frustrating for me and friends of mine that come in from other cities when they see a lot next to a Michi's that they like to frequent quite a bit, and they can't use the space. So driving by an empty lot and possibly parking there, if you're not familiar with the area and that you can't park there, run the risk of getting your car towed, would be very frustrating for me and anyone coming into the city. So I would like to see the council get an agreement between these two businesses and have a plan that calls for one unified parking space that will benefit the city long after these businesses go, and it'll leave the city in a better position for more commercial development in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Platt-Honson.
I just want to build off a phrase that you said a little while ago. So the idea of architecturally congruent. And I would argue that we see that other places in the city. So the lot behind Hillers, architecturally congruent. The lot behind Time Travelers, architecturally congruent. So it appears to be one large parking lot. However, it has signs up on pretty much every single space. And so I guess I'm unclear. It's one thing to sort of develop one big lot. It's another thing to develop one big lot where there's an agreement in place where it's sort of an anything goes. I think it would be really frustrating for the residents especially to see a portion of a lot with T-Mobile only signs vacant at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, while cars from any of the other businesses are parked down the streets in front of their house. And I think that at this point, we aren't seeing, I do think we need to have that conversation that Amy and Commissioner Barnett were speaking of, that make the larger, tougher decisions now and work towards that. And I think that that I've proposed looking at that across DDA, Planning Commission. I know administration has been looking at this in great depth and have a lot of thoughts on that. So I think we need to be doing that. I just don't believe that we have done that. And I just think we're setting ourselves up for some challenges here at this point, without knowing exactly what might be put in place. We might be sitting here now thinking everybody has good intentions, but good intentions don't get us very far. And at this point, an L-shaped lot, perhaps marked with signs, whether it's one big lot or not, I don't see it. I don't see it getting us where we need to be. I don't see this benefiting the city long-term.
Mayor Pro Tem Tebrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like the decision that Councilmember Platt Onson brought up last year with the SHW group in the Oxford parking lot, these situations have come to us a little bit more frequently in the past few years, which on the one hand is a benefit. It means we're attracting businesses, and businesses either need to expand or they need more parking or they need more space, which is all positive things for the city. On the other hand, we have to look at, the vision for the city. What do we want this city to look like in the future? What do we want this city to look like for the next generation and generations after that? And I was actually on the other side with the SHW decision than I am with this decision. And looking at the different factors at play here, for me, we're council. We're not in control of these businesses. The planning commission's not in control of these businesses. These businesses are going to do what they're going to do, presumably what's best for their business. I'm at least assuming that is the ultimate goal here. But for the city, and we're up here voting at least what we think is in our best interest for the city, I am much more inclined to agree with Chairman Barnett. And there are reasons why this fits with the city. Master plan, Woodward Avenue Act, the mass transit, possible transit, I should say. It just seems to me that if we just make this decision based on, but you have these two businesses, it's kind of the opposite of what you said. You have these two businesses that we don't have an agreement with yet, not to say that they're not going to be an agreement on that parking lot and it might be usable for everybody. I don't want to make that decision and say, you know what, we're not going to rezone this because they don't have an agreement right now, when the ultimate goal, I think, is to have it rezoned anyway. To have that extra parking, to have the ability for businesses to come in and redevelop and have those adequate spaces. So I guess I'm looking at it from the opposite side. I don't really, what those businesses are going to do, they're going to do it. But I think for the city's long-term goal, we do need to have a serious discussion on parking and how far it's going to encroach in our neighborhoods. Looking, for Woodward's a little different than Coolidge, but you're looking at Woodward, you want to have some more space for bigger businesses there. So that is a discussion that we certainly need to have, and we need to have that sooner rather than later. But at the same time, we have an applicant that's in front of us right now. We have an opportunity to rezone something that we ultimately want to get to anyway. I personally don't see the point in delaying that. If that's where we want to get, let's get there, and then we'll move from there. So that's my opinion.
Thank you. Councilmember Stidman.
I totally agree with what he just said. I was going to say something similar.
Okay.
So.
Very good. Any additional discussion? Anybody in the audience wants to make a quick comment?
My name's Don Donnell. I'm from Berkley. I understand Berkley wanting to grow and expand, and it has its great plans. The only problem is it doesn't have the parking for the big, larger plans that it wants to do, just like we're having this issue right now of. What you can do, what I'm going to say, it's too bad Berkley doesn't speculate into buying homes or property behind it where they can expand the parking and whatever they want to do, and it's available for whoever moves in, because speculators like we have right now from AT&T, okay, are going to see an opportunity to buy property and then sell it back at an outrageous price that no one can afford, and we have this issue about parking because it's no longer available because they can't afford it. Now, you want to tear a house down? Well, say he needs parking. Okay, Margarita had plenty of parking. AT&T lot is empty and does not really need the parking. But if the house is tore down, he pays less taxes on a property with no houses, for one. Two, I'm in contact with these people in the garage. He wants to charge an outrageous price per month, a fee for them to use his lot. If they can't afford it, he's going to sit there and use those cement blocks and block off his little lot. And that's an eyesore for us. He should just, He's speculator. He should just release the house to these people, save us all a headache. It would be nice. And have his little AT&T store and be done with the house and go make his money elsewhere. But he doesn't want to show up at any of our meetings to sit there and present his case so that we can find out really what he's going to do. He doesn't show. He just sends a flunky, and he doesn't know what's going on. So we don't know what's really going to go on. So we can't get any proper answers. You're not getting any real proper answers. It's not in your neighborhood. It's in our neighborhood. And if they take down the whole street, our retail value goes down and everything else. Okay, it's a headache. Okay, and this is your future plans. You really need to rethink your expansion about how you can resolve this issue ahead of time, so speculators don't go in and, make a mess. But I would like to put this on bench. I would like to bench this thing until he shows up at a meeting, the owner, and answers our questions to our satisfaction as to, what he's really going to do with this lot, and if he's really going to work with Vincetta Garage, which he hasn't since day one.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, being nice would be nice, but, greed is stronger than being nice. And it's been a headache for us since day one. I mean, I know you guys would be glad to see it go through. I want to see Vincetta Garage get some parking and help out their business. They make more money in taxes in their business than AT&T does, But one guy is holding the whole thing up.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
It's Jim Stannis, live at 105 Eaton, actually across the street from the lot that's going to be torn down. And most of my concerns were actually handled by Councilman Platt Austin. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. But the other concern I would have is what happened with margaritas in the transition between being margaritas to T-Mobile, where it sat there with cinder blocks around the entire lot for 9 months. And you can approve it as turning it into a parking, but what's the time frame where we're going to be looking at construction all around this building? Is he even going to go forward with turning it into parking without getting some agreements as far as from Vincetta Garage or whoever else wants to lease out the lot, maybe the buildings in front of it?
Thank you. Anything else to be said on this important matter?
I have a question.
Yes, question.
I have a question for Ms. Vanson. Is this issue are they becoming more agreeable between Vincetta Garage and T-Mobile?
I don't know. I know that there have been various meetings. There have been attempts by administration to get them to get along and to come up with a cohesive plan. I know I did see an email of a cohesive plan. As Councilmember Platt Onson said, it can look cohesive, and then you can still put up a bunch of signs. I think, again, is it in your master plan? Would this make sense regardless of who was doing it? And that's really, I know it's hard to not get into wanting to make people play nice in the sandbox. It would be really nice if we could make that happen. I've asked that question a lot lately. But I think what you need to look at, what I would suggest is looking longer term on, regardless of who owns this, does it make sense to be parking or does it make sense to be a house?
I think that's the critical question. I want to thank everybody for working on this issue. Particularly the Planning Commission spent a lot of time trying to understand the varying dimensions of this and trying to include the various pieces of input that they got at their public hearing. I am persuaded that the Planning Commission is correct. And so I think if there aren't any other questions, then Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll on 0413?
Blanchard.
Yes.
Platt Onson.
No.
Stedman.
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Now, Ms. Prince, would you please read item number 5 on tonight's agenda?
Ordinance number 0513, matter of approving an ordinance of the Council of the City of Berkley, Michigan, repealing emergency ordinance number 0313 and replacing it by adding new Article 3, fireworks, to Chapter 50, Fire Prevention and Protection of the Berkeley City Code. First reading, set date certain, August 19, 2013.
Is there a motion to approve 0513?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Platt Onson.
Support.
Support by Mayor Pro Tem Terbrack. Chief?
Yes. This new ordinance reflects the new state law regarding fireworks. It'll be a permanent replacement for the emergency order you passed a few months ago. The city attorney, Mr. John Steron, has looked into this matter. I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Chief. Council may recall it was 2 weeks ago, or maybe it's been 3 weeks ago now, we had a special meeting across the parking lot where we adopted the fireworks ordinance as an emergency measure in order to have it in place, up and running and effective for the Independence Day holiday. However, because it was adopted as an emergency ordinance in order to give it immediate effect by our city charter, it will automatically expire or automatically be deemed repealed after 61 days if we don't basically re-adopt it as a permanent measure. And that's what we're here tonight to consider. What's presented to you is word for word the same ordinance that was adopted as an emergency measure, and if you do accept it for first reading tonight and then adopt it on final reading at a future meeting, then it will replace the emergency ordinance and continue in effect for future fireworks holidays. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilmember Platt Onson.
Not a question so much, but just because the special meeting wasn't televised, do you mind just giving a few sort of high points of what's included in the ordinance for the viewers at home?
I don't mind at all, certainly. As the chief mentioned, our ordinance was adopted to conform to state law, both as amended last year as well as last month. And more specifically, in Michigan, fireworks that are now referred to as consumer fireworks, which are basically the things that either go up in the air or go bang, that used to be illegal in the state of Michigan both to sell or to use, were legalized last year by state law. And in fact, the state law went so far as to preempt local regulation of fireworks on the day of, the day before, and the day after any national holiday. And so not just Independence Day, but, you know, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Christmas Day, the whole gamut. And it left us in a precarious position in that we all see what happens when people take advantage of the new law, and we were left really with no ability to regulate at the local level some basic things such as hours that fireworks, although legal, would be allowed to be exploded. And we've all have heard from constituents and so on about fireworks being blown off in the wee hours of the night. So although the state law was amended and it did not take away the legalization of fireworks, last month the state legislature did give a little bit of local authority back, and that was to say that by adoption of a local ordinance, communities could regulate the nighttime hours of the use of fireworks to the extent that we are allowed to prohibit the use of fireworks between midnight and 8 a.m. on the day of, the day before, the day after national holidays, except for New Year's Eve when they get an extra hour. The hours would be 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. So with that, that's what your ordinance reflects, is the current state of the state law, and it also institutes those nighttime hour prohibitions that I just mentioned.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think that'll be helpful for the residents at home to hear a clear description of this new ordinance. Any other discussion on this topic? If not, then Ms. Prince, please call the roll on 0513.
Platt Onson,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Turbrack,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Now, Ms. Prince, would you please read item number 6?
Motion number M 3613, matter of casting Berkeley's official vote for certain individuals to serve as trustees of the Michigan Municipal Workers' Compensation Fund, and direct the city clerk to send in the marked ballot.
Is there a motion to approve M 3613?
Motion. Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Blanchard with support by Councilmember Stedman. Chief?
Your Honor, I have it on good authority that you're
In the back.
this one.
This item is, it comes up every year when we have to cast votes with regard to folks who are running for different offices at MML and so on. And so that decision will be made, I understand, by our city clerk. She will make the calls on our behalf. Are there any questions about, it'll be wholly unnecessary for us to look into the resumes and the summaries of all the candidates that are running. We will entrust that into the capable hands of our city clerk.
They're all unopposed.
That's right, they're all unopposed, so it's a very simple situation.
They're all
So then,
incumbents.
I think we can go quickly to call the roll on M 3613.
Stedman,
Yes.
Turbrack,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Platt Onson,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now, Ms. Prince, will you please read item number 7?
Resolution number R 2713, matter of approving a contractor agreement with Robert North as the Deputy Chief of Public Safety Department for the period of July 17, 2013 through July 16, 2014.
Is there a motion to approve R 2713?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Blanchard.
Support.
Support by Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack. Chief?
Yes, sir. The Public Safety Department is in a period of transition, especially in its command structure. This past winter, we promoted 3 officers to the rank of sergeant. We're currently involved in a promotion process with the rank of lieutenant. A written exam was given in May. An outside assessment panel conducted interviews of the candidates this past week, and we will be promoting someone to the rank of lieutenant in the next few weeks. It takes time for newly promoted members to learn the job skills and management techniques and to master their unfamiliar roles. The unique experience, knowledge, and skills possessed by Deputy Chief North are indispensable at this time. His presence provides a more effective transition into the future. Due to that, we are proposing a new contract agreement with Deputy Chief North for a period of 1 year as a final contract. The contract is identical to the last one, and the amount, which reflected a 5% reduction from the prior year. Everything else is the same. We're talking about a very unique individual here. This man has served for decades in a courageous, dedicated fashion. I could go on all night with his accolades. Right now, we have a very young department. We are transitioning into a different command structure. We've already started it in the fire service, as Councilman Blanchard, being a volunteer firefighter, is aware of. But this takes time. It takes time to send all the people to fire officer school. Anybody who's going to be in command of a fire scene should be a graduate of a certain series of classes, and we've been in the process of that for a while. The police side, we're transitioning by sending all of the sergeants and people we thought would become sergeants quickly into the Detective Bureau for a period of 8 to 9 months to learn that end of it. So when a particular sergeant is running a scene at night on Saturday night and there's no lieutenant available, that person's been through the detective experience, understands what to do at a scene, so as to most effectively handle it. This all takes time. At this point, while we're very close, we need a little bit more time with this senior deputy chief before we move on.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the chief on this item? Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack.
Not a question, just a comment. Chief, You're right. We are in a time of transition, as you mentioned. We have promoted 3 officers recently, looking at the lieutenant thing. And, we've talked about over the last few years when we've had various contracts come up, having a plan in place, a clear plan of succession, what's going to happen if somebody leaves, who's going to get promoted. And maybe it took a little longer to get into place than maybe some of us would have liked to see, but I'm very happy that we are doing it now. We are clearly in a period of transition, and certainly happy that Deputy Chief has accepted this role to come back for us, at least for this final year here, to share as much knowledge with the officers that are going to be stepping into his shoes in the future. So I'm very appreciative of that, all the work that he has put in, and I'm happy to see that we are moving forward. We have a plan here. We're clearly moving forward, and I'm excited for our department and what's going to happen in the future. So thank you, Chief.
Councilmember Platt Hansen.
I too have voiced a concern in the past in regards to succession planning across the board, and I did want to take a chance to say thank you. The work that you've been doing is it's noticed and appreciated, and I think we're really moving in a good direction. So giving you that additional year to get there seems like just the right thing to do here. So thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Blanchard.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make some comments also, because I've been partially involved in this, and in addition to promoting people and training people, we started this all when the whole fire service, in fact, was going through some transitions. We're going into the incident command system and the national incident management system, which is training that our people have to have, and so we're doing a tremendous amount of training across the street, and it shows. Mayor Pro Tem Turbeck saw some of our stuff when we used his building, thanks to, for training over there, and it was quite effective. So I think the chief has done a wonderful job. We've got things where we want them to be, and we're just fine-tuning it to make sure that we don't have any mistakes and get everybody fit into their new jobs, and I think it will work well, and I'm very happy to see how it's coming out. So thank you.
Thank you. I just add my congratulations also, Chief, on your leadership in that department, and actually, and especially your hiring skill. I mean, you have hired amazing young men and women for our department, and then once you've hired them, guiding them, training them, giving them opportunities to grow and blossom in their profession. I mean, it's a fantastic department, and you should be enormously proud of that achievement.
I do have one critique of that.
Yep, sorry.
Chief, I do think that we need to tighten up when it relates to hiring.
Yes, softball.
And once they are hired, if they're hired, they need to participate. I mean, only having a few officers showing up to the game, it really impacts the city negatively. That's all I'm going to say. So I do think that great guys, and they tell me they can all play softball or baseball, yet I have not seen all of them do that yet. So that's just the one area. Great on everything else. One area I'd like to see tightened up. Thank you.
Are you suggesting we edit the job description?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just making a comment.
Okay.
But we need to make sure we have an ambulance if Sergeant Miller is playing.
Oh my gosh.
I will not comment on that.
Very good. Very good. Ms. Prince, will you please call the roll on R2713?
Turbrack,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Platt Hansen,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Now, Ms. Prince, will you please read item number 8?
Resolution number R2813, matter of authorizing amendments to the fiscal year 2012-2013 and fiscal year 2013-2014 budgets.
Is it a motion to approve R2813?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Stedman.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Platt Hansen. Chief?
The city finance director, Mr. David Sabuda, will handle this issue.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening again, Mayor and council members. Before you tonight, you have 15 amendments, 12 for 12-13 fiscal year and 3 budget amendments for 13-14 fiscal year. On the 12-13 fiscal year, what we have here is $26,000 worth of new spending, $82,000 of new revenue for the 12-13 fiscal year. And most of that revenue is in the permits, licenses, and fees The people are improving their homes, the economy's picking up, you can see it here. Also, we've also have a slight increase in traffic fines and fees. We've been busy out in the field, and the judge is adjudicating, so I'll leave it at that. On the expense side, for the $26,000 in 12-13, we have new fees, increase in fees for the labor attorney, general liability expenses, you can see that in items D and E. In the recreation department, we've had a slight increase there of $2,900. We're buying furniture, replacement furniture from insurance proceeds, and we have some medical expenses there. In the arena, slight increase there on the, now if we look at the special revenue and the enterprise funds, we have $10,000 of net expenditure savings or decrease in the special revenue and enterprise funds for 12-13, and $25,000 in new revenue in the enterprise funds and the special revenue funds. Basically, that revenue you will see in the recreation revolving fund, and the savings that are in the water sewer fund, basically. Now, when you look at the 13-14 amendments, there are three. I really want to focus on those items M, N, and O. Item M, building maintenance issue. As you know, at 3358 Bacon, we own the home, and we had to replace the roof. As go the neighborhood, so goes the city, and at the end of the day, we had to fix the roof. When they took the roof off, they found 4 roofs on there, not 2, and that increased the cost of the project. On items N and O, what you're doing here is these are carry forwards. We're taking projects that did not get done or were not touched in fiscal year 12-13, and they will be done in 13-14. Item N is building improvements with the awning and the building at the district court here. And on the water sewer fund, we are bringing over $21,000 to do additional water main work in the, we're going to be doing fire suppression work in the building over at the DPW, and that'll be coming out of the water sewer fund. So with that, Your Honor, and that's another $31,000 worth of expenses. With that, I'd be happy to entertain any and all questions that the council may have.
Any questions on this item for our finance director? Fundamentally bringing everything into line and keeping the book straight again.
That's correct.
Basically, is what we're doing.
State law compliance.
That's correct, stay in compliance. Ms. Prince, will you please call the roll on R 2813?
Yes. Blanchard.
Yes.
Platt Onson.
Yes.
Stedman.
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Now, Ms. Prince, please read item number 9.
Motion number M 3713, matter of approving various appointments to boards and commissions.
Is there a motion to approve M 3713?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Support. Motion approved by Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack with support by Councilmember Blanchard. Ms. Prince, would you please read the list of candidates?
Yes. As soon as I get it. For the Beautification Advisory Committee, Wayne Atfield. Environmental Advisory Committee, Karen Stickle. The Historical Committee, William Ackman, Mary Catherine Mueller, Danielle Ozanich, Carol Ring, James Tong. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Josephine Brewer, Dale Goodcourage, and Betty Smith. Planning Commission, Eric Murrell, Mark Richardson. Tree Board, Matthew Segovich. Zoning Board of Appeals, Greg Butts, Zachary Masad. Downtown Development Authority Board of Trustees, for 12 Mile, Kathy Abrahamian, and for Coolidge, Karen Korber.
Thank you. And these are all reappointments.
These are all people that have expressed interest in being reappointed.
Correct. Are there any questions about this list of candidates? There are a few boards that have vacancies.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are residents that have an interest in serving on some of those city boards, now would be a good time to contact the city clerk and express your interest in a specific committee that you'd like to work on.
We'll be updating the website for all the vacancies now that this has been done, and the application is also available online.
Very good. Thank you. Anything additional to be said about this? Councilmember Platt Onson.
I just wanted to note that not only are we looking to reappoint Josephine Brewer, but every meeting we have a smiling face actually showing great interest in what we're doing. So I wanted to, the viewers at home don't get to see that Josephine is not only at the Parks and Rec meetings, but she's here all the time as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you for noting that. She brings a smile and joy to our meetings. Even in the most difficult items of discussion, we can look down and see her great smile. Thank you, Josephine. Ms. Prince, please call the roll on M3713.
Platt Onson,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Turbrack,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
and O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now, Ms. Prince, will you please read item number 10?
Closed session, matter of adjourning to a closed session for the purpose of receiving an update on union negotiations pursuant to 8C of Act 267 of the 1976 Open Meetings Act, as requested by the city manager.
Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Move to adjourn by Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack, support by Councilmember Blanchard. Ms. Prince, please call the roll.
Stedman,
Yes.
Turbrack,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Platt Onson,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And we should be back in, how long, John?
I don't think it should take more, David, 10 minutes?
Okay.
10 minutes.
Very good. Just
It's freezing. I'm gonna have like pneumonia by the end of the week.
Okay, calling the meeting to order again. Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll?
Blanchard.
Here.
Platt Onson.
Here.
Stedman.
Here.
Turbrack.
Here.
O'Dwyer.
Here. Now, Ms. Prince, would you please read item number 11 on tonight's agenda?
Resolution number R2913, matter of ratifying a 2-year tentative labor agreement between the City of Berkeley and the POLC, Berkeley Public Safety Command Officers Association.
Is there a motion to approve R2913?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Stedman,
Support.
support by Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack. Chief.
Yes, this matter will be handled by the Finance Director.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mayor and council members, for the last time this evening, what you have here before you tonight is a 2-year deal with the Command Officers Association, and we're recommending approval of the 2-year deal with the police command officers.
Very good. Are there any questions for our Finance Director or the Chief? Seeing none, then, Ms. Prince, will you please call the roll on R2913?
Turbrack.
Yes.
Blanchard.
Yes.
Platt Onson.
Yes.
Stedman.
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. I'd like to thank everybody that has been involved in these negotiations and bringing this to a fruitful conclusion. Thank you all. And now we come to communications.
Blanchard.
Councilmember Blanchard is up first.
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Very good. Councilmember Stedman.
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Mayor Pro Tem Turbrack.
Motoring along.
Motoring right along.
Councilman Baker with us
Well-
this evening.
That's
I
not
didn't know if you wanted
that's not
to.
exactly
I didn't know if you
correct.
wanted to do Councilman Baker now or later. Okay.
Oh.
All right. I'll handle my end first. Summer is very rapidly moving right past us. A lot of Summerfest events have already taken place. The most recent, the community picnic last Saturday. Unfortunately, I was out of town, but I did get a number of updates and heard it was just a fantastic day for the residents of Berkeley, families, visitors. Everybody just sounded like it was an outstanding time, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. However, coming up, we have a couple more events I want to make sure everybody is aware of. The J.C. Park Jamboree, Thursday, July 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, that's Thursday, July 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. at J.C. Park. And that's our last official Summerfest event for July, and then we move into August. Just before school starts, we have family movie night, Saturday, August 24th. The movie starts at dusk, but prior to that, we'll have some bounce houses and some things. Bring your chairs, blankets, enjoy a family movie night. And Ice Cream Social, Tuesday, August 27th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Community Center. Again, these are all the events put on by our Parks and Recreation Department. Summerfest continues to grow every year, and there are still a few events left. So please make sure that you can get your families there and have a great time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Platt Onson.
Well, since Councilmember Baker couldn't make it, I have prepared an entire series of quotes. I have nothing this evening.
Poor Steve. Beat up.
Thank you. Chief?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Sabuda?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Mr. Attorney?
I will not break the trend. Nothing tonight.
Well, it falls to me to read a communication that I received from our colleague at Harvard. Greetings from Harvard. I write to you from my dorm room at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, preparing for 2 weeks of classes. To say the experience thus far has been valuable would be an understatement. I have learned, shared, and grown so much in the past week, and the upcoming 2 weeks look to be equally challenging and enriching. The faculty are inspiring, the coursework is grueling, the schedule is tiring, and I would not have it any other way. I had expected the material to be exceptional. What I now more fully appreciate is how remarkable my fellow classmates are as well. I have already learned so much from the other 79 leaders who hail from across the globe. My sincere thanks to my family, to Mayor O'Dwyer and my colleagues on the council, to city administration, SEMCOG, and my teams at work. I greatly appreciate their support to fully embrace this opportunity. I look forward to sharing and applying the many insights I have and will gain to help move Berkley and this region forward together. It seems fitting to close with a quote from John F. Kennedy, as I am studying at the Kennedy School. He once said, "Our progress as a nation can be no swifter than our progress in education. The human mind is our fundamental resource. From this resource to yours, I hope you have a safe, pleasant, and enriching week. Yours truly, Steve Baker." So that's communication from our man at Harvard. Our other colleague, Alan Kideckel, is ill and is unable to be with us this evening. And we send him greetings and best wishes for a quick recovery. And finally, on behalf of City Council and the residents of Berkley, I'd like to extend condolences to Mayor Jerry Durst and his wife Wanda on the untimely and sudden passing of their daughter Marianne. Sympathies too go out to former Councilman Dan Benton on the death of his mother Dottie. It is characteristic of Berkley that in joyful times we celebrate together, and in times of sadness we support one another. And so we keep them and all our residents in our thoughts and good wishes. On that note, Ms. Prince, would you please, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilmember Stedman. Any support?
Support.
Support by Councilmember Blanchard. Ms. Prince, would you please call the roll?
Blanchard.
Yes.
Clyde Onson.
Yes.
Stedman.
Yes.
Turbrack.
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Meeting is adjourned.